This is the meal I cook at least 1 to 2 times a week in the winter right now. Maybe even 3. Guess it really depends on how things are going. One of the biggest things I miss eating is eggs, but this dish has dominated that craving. The reason this dish works for me is I literally just spend time prepping and then I'm done. 10 to 15 minutes and then the dish is cooking itself. I could spend that time meditating, reading, even penciling my gratuities for the day. The dish is meal prep worthy. For those who have a family, a smarter way to budget, ensure you have balance in your portions, or even something as simple as managing your time, which by the way is still very difficult as an adult. Number 1 rule here, make sure your tray is non-stick. Even using parchment paper if you want to have more control on the way you use oil. But whatever you do, don't do nothing, because potatoes are the starchiest creatures and they like to hold on to everything. But say you forget, let the pan cool completely along with the items on it, and usually your potatoes will come off pretty good then. That particular method may be really good for meal preppers, since the plan was to eat the food later anyhow. Swap the potatoes for sweet potatoes or any of your favorite varieties. And make sure to cube the potatoes in half the size that you normally cube potatoes, and they'll cook in half the time. I used extra firm tofu for this dish. If you need to swap, you use pumfu or even ackee, which is a Jamaican fruit that has a similarity to tofu as far as texture goes, but has less protein. It's low in carbs and it's soy free. As far as greens, there's not very many leafy ones that can stand the heat like kale does. But if you want, don't hesitate to add your greens maybe halfway through the baking or maybe in the last few minutes, so that way they don't burn. Alternatively, I love using the oven in the morning when it's winter time. It's like flipping the switch to put the house in cozy mode. A meal like this one is so beneficial for your pockets. Favorite thing about this meal is it is all pantry staples. When you're looking to save money, stop going to the grocery store and go right to your pantry. The idea is you don't want to save what is left after spending, but rather spend what is left after saving. Did you follow that? Challenge yourself. Try to deplete your pantry, before going shopping. Budgeting this way is reducing food waste. You're also feeding and building that just creative mindset. And it's putting you in a position to just be financially stronger while you weather the inflation storm. Not to mention, these pancakes, my kids actually eat without syrup. I mean, the adults do too. I'm just making a point. So you can leave the syrup in the pantry or maybe even the grocery store. The flour in this recipe can also be swapped for like a gluten-free all-purpose blend. King Arthur, Boob's Red Mill. Boob, no. Nope. Bob is gonna be so mad at me. Bob's Red Mill is also another blend that works here. I usually make this with oil, but this time around, I made it with applesauce for my oil-free folks. And the applesauce could also be used for a swap for the coconut milk. If you need to swap both the oil and the coconut milk, just use all applesauce. I used apple cider vinegar in this recipe to make a plant-based buttermilk. If you need to make that without the apple cider vinegar, you could use lemon juice with identical results. I made the recipe on a half sheet pan, which gives you a good amount of fluff in your results. If you go with a, quarter sheet pan, it would turn this into cake, which isn't a bad thing by my standards. For these recipes and more, check out my website, makeitdairyfree.com, or click the link in the description. Thanks a ton for watching. Until next time, believe in good. Peace.